Hey everybody, today we're looking at a Malphite versus Aatrox game. This was in gold and this was submitted to me by somebody on Patreon who wanted to look through this matchup. Now, the first thing I did when I saw this was Aatrox versus Malphite was I looked at his runes and his items. Because a lot of matchups and a lot of League of Legends as a whole just comes down to getting slight advantages through items, through runes, through your early game decision making that add up. If you have something, it might seem small. If it gives you a 0.1% higher win rate and you do a change like that 10 times, you can go from a 50 to a 51% win rate and climb up a little bit. So these small decisions that you make in the early game, I think are actually very, very, very important. So when I saw this as Aatrox versus Malphite, the first thing I did was I looked at it. I said Malphite, he's got CC on his Q, but it's not that big a deal. Gragas is his E stun. Jin's got the giant W root. Xerath's got the E stun. So there is an argument that he should be going Tenacity here. So then when I looked through his runes, I saw he went Legend Alacrity instead of Legend Tenacity, which could still be fine because he did go Merc Treads, he did go Iceborne Gauntlet, so he's got double Tenacity there, but there's no harm in triple Tenacity, right? So he went Conquer, Triumph, Legend Alacrity, Last Stand. That's fairly basic. Then he went Bone Plating and Revitalize. And I thought, Bone Plating against Malphite. There's a reason that this Bone Plating did not block a lot of damage. Because Malphite could just knock off the Bone Plating with his Q, then go in for trades. I found that it's basically always better in every situation to go with Second Wind into Malphite. Now, for Revitalize, he could very easily have gone with an Unflinching there. If he wants to go Legend Alacrity to get better auto attacks, that's fine. He could slot in an Unflinching here. That would help against the Malphite Q slow. That would help against the Jarvan slow. That would give him tenacity against everything. So, Unflinching here would have been fine. Revitalize it didn't really do a lot, but, you know, he didn't really go with the high damage build to begin with, so it's fine. In all, I would say that these runes are actually subpar. I would probably swap this to Legend Tenacity. This could probably have stayed Revitalized, but Unflinching with Tenacity here. This really needed to be Second Wind. So that's just me before the game even begins. I think he's already made several key mistakes that have, in my opinion, actually affected his ability to win rather substantially because, as we'll see very quickly here against Malphite, Second Wind tends to be very important. So he doesn't leash, and then he doesn't go to zone off. Okay, so he's actually already made two mistakes before the waves have already crashed. If Malphite's going to leash, and you're not going to leash, walk up here and pull the wave upwards so that it breaks its level 1 behavior. I'm not going to go into that too much, but basically you want to pull the wave up until it full aggro's on you, then walk into the brush. You don't take too much damage, and what will happen if they are leashing and you are not leashing, what will happen is one of the melee minions will die before they get into XP range, which actually gives you a very large increase. If nothing else, it helps you get the wave pushing into you at level 1. So you can see he's literally just standing around, whereas Malphite's leashing. So if nothing else, at the very least, he could like walk up maybe, you know, like get vision, get prio, something, because yeah, right now he's not doing anything. Let me speed this up here. So he Qs, doesn't crit, Qs, crits. Yeah, it's just basically typical. The only thing I would recommend is don't Q over the minion wave, because if you Q over the minion wave, it'll help push the wave. He also does a third Q here into the brush. Doesn't hit anything, just puts it on a longer cooldown. Now you can see, as I was saying here, his he gets his Bone Plating poked off by a Malphite Q, and then Malphite just comes up and backs. Although I'm pretty sure Malphite hit him. Oh no, Malphite actually didn't even hit him during the Bone Plating, so this Bone Plating literally did nothing. Yeah, that's what I said was going to happen. So he could have a Second Wind right now, and if he had a Second Wind right now, it would actually be healing this entire time. Then we look at items. Actually, what items did he go with? He went at Doran's Blade. Doran's Blade is fine into Malphite, but if you went Doran's Shield, Second Wind, you're basically immune to Malphite's early game. It comes down to, are you going to try to go for a kill, or are you going to try to heal? You know, because that does matter. Gragas is clearing the bot lane, so I don't think he really needs to like keep his health up. He just needs to win trades. But yeah, you can see, I'm just going to keep pointing this out. Like, imagine for a second, I cannot click this. Okay, I don't think it's literally not working. Okay, I don't quite understand. But imagine he was, why is this not working? I'm like, there we go. Okay, so imagine he was Second Wind, and imagine he had a Doran Shield right now. The Second Wind would probably be like 30, 40, 50 healing, especially with how many trades he's taken. He also keeps queuing over the entire minion wave, which, yes, it's doing damage, Third Q was in absolutely no hope of hitting, so all he did was put it on a longer cooldown and help push the wave. You can see he's already pushed this wave really hard. He has gotten good damage in on the Malphite, but it's come at the cost of pushing the wave a lot. The second wind Doran Shield, it's not like he's doing fine. Like Malphite's not really applying the most early pressure because he's Malphite, so it's like it's fine. But I'm just saying it could be better, particularly, yeah. I mean, Malphite's just sort of walking into trades here, so... Yeah, see, once again, the bone plating has done absolutely nothing. It's done absolutely nothing. I mean, if he had second wind, at the very least, he'd be at higher HP. It doesn't really matter for now, but it's just... It's irritating to me. It's irritating because it's literally done nothing. This just seems to be a typical Aatrox versus Malphite early game. One thing I could recommend is play like on the outside of the minion wave. You keep trying to like play through the minion wave, if that makes any sense to you. Like you keep queuing through the minion wave. You can't really set up W's right now. Yeah, you can see he's got W available. If he was on the outside of the minion wave, you can maybe try to poke Malphite with the W. But if you can't, once again, you third queued into nothing, putting on a longer cooldown. You have W available, but you never use it because you're playing through the minion wave. Right there would have been a pretty decent W. You use it, but you only get, it's like, and then you queue the minion wave again. It's okay. It's starting to piss me off. Don't queue. Why are you third queuing the minion wave? Right. Okay. I mean, that's fine. You got his flash, but I'm saying you could have been doing that the entire time. And if your second wind here would have been doing anything, you wouldn't be at 2/5 HP. You'd probably be. So once again, you're queuing the entire minion wave to reach him, which is just pushing the minion wave. And yeah. So now if I just get to clean back here, which I mean, I'm assuming the CS is like you have an advantage on Malphite, but it could be better. Also, you didn't complete your back because you have Ignite. Your bone plating has continued to do absolutely nothing. Yeah, you got absolutely nothing. Then you missed your W. Okay, so the problem here is if you had second wind here, you'd be fine. Canceling that back would have been fine because you'd just be healing up right now. And he's at low HP. But do you see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? And that choosing... Kitty's making a lot of noise here. That choosing the right option here, choosing the right rune, would have put you in a much better situation for absolutely nothing. Like, you're not losing anything. You off no skill, off no reaction time, nothing like that, you miss a cannon, would have been doing better. Yes, and this is the problem. You canceled your back when the way... Can I actually look at that? When he canceled his back here. So here's the thing: the wave was going to slowly push into you had you completed your back here. How much gold did you have here? Oh boy, how do you do this UI? I don't know how much gold he has here. I can't see the UI because I'm really bad at the replay option. Isn't there like a thing here? It's like a thing. I don't freaking know. He's got 30 CS. So he could probably get double longsword, right? At this stage of the game, I think he can get double longsword. How do you see gold? Am I blind? I swear to God. I swear to God. How do you... Hotkeys, interface, okay, hold on here, tab, oh, now, technical scoreboard items, there we go, yeah, okay, I was right, there's no way he wasn't gonna get double longsword. Taking a double longsword in boots here, he could be back into a lane that's pushing into him on double longsword boots, because, here's the thing, I'm gonna explain this to you right now. If the wave is on their side, then the next wave will come up first because it's closer to their turret. The second wave will hit first, which means the wave will slowly start pushing back into you. So you could have had an item lead with the wave slowly pushing back into him, but instead he canceled the back. And he continued to do absolutely nothing because he doesn't have second wind properly. By the way, has he warded? No. That's, you're playing a bit aggressively and you haven't warded, which is fine. I mean, everybody makes mistakes, right? But I'm just saying you could have just through decisions that have absolutely nothing to do with reaction, nothing to do with like skill or anything like that. I'm just saying with those decisions, you could have been doing a lot better here. We're only level 6, okay? Like, let me just be clear here. We're level 6, but the early game, like, we're 7 minutes into the game, right? Like, this is important. We're 7 minutes into the game, so it's very important, in my opinion, to be making the right decisions, to be setting yourself up, you miss a cannon again, for victory. going for useless trades on Malphite makes no sense. If you can be getting the cannon. Right there, you had full Conqueror stacks, so I would probably have kept pressing that trade. Like, even with his Giga nerfed healing, Conqueror plus Aatrox E plus his, you know, the fact Gragas has long cooldowns. Yeah. So, I mean, you're getting ahead here. I can see how you're going to throw this lead. Like, I can understand it. Just back off. Just complete your back, please. I know the wave is pushed up, but you need a buy. You went... Okay, so I don't agree with this. You went Merc Treads, but for the same price of Merc Treads, can I look at this? Yeah, you could have had a Kindle Gem and a Longsword. And I agree, Merc Treads is, like, really good if you're being, like, spam ganked. But I guarantee this Malphite... Oh, no, he is maxing Q. He's Q-maxing... Wait, Malphite is Q-maxing... But he went Grasping and Dying. That's supposed to be a W-max build. Okay, well, this Malphite's playing wrong. In a normal world, if you went Grasping and Dying, you would actually be maxing W, which does complete physical damage. So Malphite would actually be doing more physical damage than magical. So the Merc Treads Rush... In a normal world, the Merc Treads Rush actually wouldn't be that great. It would do decent to prevent the burst from Malphite Gragas. And the CC from the Gragas E and the Malphite Q. But... I actually think just bum rushing to a Black Cleaver would have been better. That's just my opinion. Hold that wave. Don't attack it. I don't know why you're attacking it. You had a lane hold. Once again, that has nothing to do with reactions or anything like that, right? You made Malphite back, and maybe you're going for plates, and I agree. Like, plates are fine, but you also could have held that wave, particularly because you keep getting ganked. But I mean, I guess Gragas is bot. I mean, I guess in the end of the day, it does come down to player choice. But now you're once again, you had another situation where you could have had that lane pushing towards you. I guess you wanted another plate, and that's fine. I mean, that's player choice if you want the plate. But so I know I keep nitpicking here, but my argument here is that had you gone with the Kindle Gem and the Longsword, you actually could have been backing for a Black Cleaver right now. You'd been on Black Cleaver. Getting those double plates and not holding the wave would actually have been quite a good thing to do. Actually, that would have been really smart had you just been able to go back and get that Black Cleaver right now. Because now you would have had Black Cleaver, and against Gragas and against Malphite, that would have been quite good. Yeah. Merc Treads. I wish I could see... I'm going to look at your post-game stats. I guarantee you're not taking as much magic damage as you think you are. I guarantee it. And again, just having a Black Cleaver. Imagine instead of having the Merc Treads, you had Black Cleaver. Imagine a little bit more damage, a little bit more cooldown reduction. And remember, 200 health, I mean, how much damage reduction is Merc Treads really giving you? It's giving you, like against Malphite, you reduced his Q slow duration. Like big whoop, right? I mean, at least you take the turret, you could be using your E there, but okay. Yeah. So, you keep doing this weird thing where, like, you push the wave in, but, like, you're not getting anything out of it. And without Black Cleaver, you're not really doing any damage to Malphite, right? Malphite's not even that armored, you're just not doing that much to him. Are you going? Okay, so now you have the Black Cleaver, a little bit later than I would have wanted to go to it. That's fine. You're up CS, you've gotten a lot of jungle. Your team as a whole is still winning. So, like, you fundamentally, like, the dude is in gold, right? Like, we can't agree with that. He's in gold, so, like, early game mistakes are fine. Like, to be completely blunt, both sides are going to make mistakes in gold. So I'm not saying like, oh, you've thrown the game by dying once early game. Oh, you threw the game by not going Black Cleaver. But I'm saying like all these decisions you've been making are adding up. If you see that, right? Like that's why I nitpick all this stuff like that, because like, okay, so you didn't go second wind. Okay, so that first death might have been avoidable if you had gone second wind and you had like 200-300 more HP. That second death was probably avoidable if you had gone Kindle Gem Longsword and your trading was a bit better. Had you not constantly been awkwardly pushing the wave in, you probably would have gotten better trades with him where you could have pushed it out, or not pushed out, we could have all-ined more before he like ran back to the turret. you could have had more space to do things. I want to look at one thing right here too. Real quick, I just want to show you one thing that you could do better here with this trade. Right, there's one thing I told myself I was going to look at because I knew you were going to do it. Let me try to find it here. Okay. I knew he was going to do it, so I just need to go back and look at it. You used your W before his Q ran out or before his Q did anything. So if I could just show you that one more time. What he did is he uses his W right as Malphite's using his Q, but Malphite's always going to use his Q because he's Malphite, right? So watch right here. You know he's going to use his Q, so you go for that one, right? But your Q2's not going to hit, and he's going to use the Q movement speed to just walk out of your W. And I knew he was going to do that. I told myself, before the replay even started, like, I was thinking to myself, what are some people that people do wrong in this matchup? And I knew he was going to do this, so all I had to do was go back to one of the fights, and I could watch this. Because, yeah, he Qs, he runs out of the W, you Q into the middle. So in this trade, you have crit Q1 and hit the start of your W. That is it. You have broken his passive. So, you know, when you need to be pushing and winning, you are not. Then you're awkwardly, you know, you're awkwardly backing here. I feel like you could have pushed that in, particularly because Malphite keeps letting you push it in, but it's fine. I mean, you lose a couple of CSs. Okay, you lost the cannon again, chasing Malphite. That, losing that many cannons to try to chase Malphite over and over, just to be clear, that's nearly 300 gold he's lost, purely on losing cannons. That's basically a kill on Malphite he's given up in gold so that he can continue to chase Malphite and not kill him. Does that make sense? He has literally given up. Like, he could kill Malphite just off killing the cannon minions, but instead of that, he's chasing around Malphite, fruitlessly trying to damage him. Like, I wanna look at this again. Okay, so what do you do here? Okay, you see Shaco's there, that's fine. So you go in, you hit the Q. You hit the W. Do you have your W? You don't actually have your W. So you hit the Q, you hit the Q2. I need to look at this again. He's doing something wrong, but I just can't put my finger on it. Oh, because he used the W. Why did you use the W here? Wait, that's why it's on cooldown. My brain was telling me something was off, and I knew it. Okay, so you haven't crit your Q. He's in his Q, so he has the movement speed buff, and you use your W. What is the point of this? What has that accomplished? Your W, even with Black Cleaver, that's still a long cooldown. Why are you wasting it like that? There's no world that exists. There's no world that exists where that W will ever go off. And to be clear, although it doesn't seem like a big deal, that means that's 1 stack less of Conqueror he has here. That's 2 less stacks of Black Cleaver debuff that he's putting on Malphite. Now, this is fine, because, like, you don't know that Gragas is coming, and Shaco hasn't bought. I bet he hasn't bought in a while. He has not bought in a very long time. I can just tell that looking at his items. So, at this point, Shaco might as well be 000, because he has 2,000 gold in his inventory versus Gragas, who has 4,000 gold in his inventory. So this Gragas is 6 kills and this Shaco is 0 kills. I'm just saying that for the future because a lot of people, they'll look at this situation and they don't realize that this Shaco, he could go get his mythic and he hasn't. And because of that, he is 2,000 gold behind the Gragas. So the trade goes normally, Q1 crit, Q2 crit, you go in to hit your passive. I mean, that's just a bit unfortunate. You W, but you don't really have the ability to make that W work. Had you had the ability to make that W work, this would have gone way differently. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. Again, I'm not expecting gold players to play perfectly. To be blunt, Shaco going for these ganks with a mythic in the bank is questionable. Unless this gank is like super free, I really wouldn't be going for that. But you're going for a Malphite. You're going for a Malphite is Shaco Aatrox. He's gonna ult away. Worst case scenario, Malphite's gonna ult away, right? So like, this is to the Shaco. If by some goddamn chance you happen to watch this video, that just didn't work. Malphite could have E'd the entire wave, not just the first half, which kind of irritates me again. Otherwise, this is just fairly normal. Yeah. So, yeah. Iceborne Gauntlet is okay here. It's not bad. I would almost go Eclipse just because they have so many frontliners, but it's fine. Iceborne Gauntlet's fine because you are fighting Lethality, Jarvan, Jhin, but they only have 2 physical damage people, whereas they have 3, like, kind of not physical damage. Malphite's like half and half because I don't know what he's doing. He's maxing E. So Malphite realistically should be maxing W second against your team comp, but that's fine. Like, you can't... Like, I can't make my opponents play properly, right? So you have this issue. I'm literally watching you doing it. You have this issue where, once again, you've done the same thing. I'm explaining to you not to be mean, but I'm explaining to you why these trades are going so poorly, because you probably haven't realized it. You're, like, probably sitting here like, God damn, like, how does Hashinshin keep beating Malphite so hard every time he plays Aatrox? And then when I play Aatrox, I lose the trade so hard. Well... Like, sometimes I might make the mistake here, but, like, you're consistent. You're, like, every single trade you're doing it. Once again, you lost another cannon chasing Malphite. So, you have a CS lead. You could have a much, much, much larger CS lead. You could be, like, 30, probably, CS ahead of him. Over the course of this game, you've probably missed 20 CS or more, potentially. I mean, I haven't been counting, but I'm just guesstimating. You've probably missed 20 and 30 CS just chasing around Malphite. So even though right now you do have a gold lead in your inventory on him, that could be a much larger gold lead. You could probably have had, you have a Sheen right now. You probably could have another a crystal, ruby crystal, maybe even a chain vest. Honestly, you could be probably at like an 800 gold lead. With all the cannons you've missed and the minions you've missed, you could probably have had another 800 gold in your inventory. So, okay. So let me. The problem you're doing here, and it's kind of like really obvious when you will go back and you watch a replay. The problem you're doing here is you're just swinging wildly. Like, your Q is available, so you're using your Q. Does that make sense? Like, in that situation, you E forward your Q1 despite the fact he's walking up to Q you, right? Now, you could potentially have punished him for that, because what you could do is then you could E forward your Q2, knocking him up, and then potentially you could still pull him because he's not reacting very fast, right? Like, and he's taking diagonal paths here. So potentially if you Q'd forward the Q2, you could maybe have knocked him into that W into a Q3. And then what are you gonna do here? You back in, which is fine, I guess. But yeah, see, once again, you E forward and then you Q3. And why are you Q3? And there's a cannon. So you've put your Q on full cooldown here. You didn't crit your Q1 or your Q2. Your W got wasted. Everything got wasted. So that's why these health bars look so different. Because, no offense, but any single time you had a chance to make a mistake in this fight, every single time you had a chance to make a mistake, you made a mistake. Every single time. So, once again, Malphite hits you. Now, you could just back away, because you're going to lose this trade. You will die. He's used his ult. You're at too low HP. Do you have E available? No, of course you don't, because you just used it. So, let me explain what you should do in this situation. You fucked up so hard that you have no hope of possibly coming back. With old Aatrox, potentially. Like, before they reworked him into this, like, lethality tank thing, right? You did actually, honestly, you had the chance to win, maybe by like bringing the healing because they didn't have a bramble vest or anything. But now, with Aatrox's healing nerfed into the ground, your correct play here is he's running away. E in this direction and fucking run. But no, you continue to try the trade. You continue to try the trade. He flashes forward a Q. Yeah, that's no offense, but it was pretty predictable. Yeah. So, at this point, your team is still winning. I'm going to be honest. What you should do now, I'm not saying, like, Malphite doesn't, like, outscale Aatrox 1v1, but there comes a certain point when you need to admit that, like, it's just not working out. Maybe you don't understand it in-game. Like, maybe after the game, you could go back and watch your replay. You could ask someone. But as of now, you need to admit to yourself, you can't beat Malphite. You don't know why you can't beat Malphite. I could tell you why, but you don't know why. At this point in time, like, to your past self, you don't know why you're losing to Malphite so hard. So what you need to do is stop trying to fight him. Like, you can't. Like, you don't understand why you're losing, but you need to admit that you're losing. So you need to stop trying to fight him. Okay. I was waiting for this to happen. Dragon is spawning, and even though this is dying to the turret, you need to go to Dragon because you don't have teleport. If he goes top lane and doesn't go to the Dragon... Yep. Okay, I just knew that one was gonna happen. So, Yep. I haven't watched this replay before. I'm not psychic, okay? I can just tell what's gonna happen based on, like, okay, once again, no offense to you, Boshi the top, no offense to you, but I literally just think to myself, like, what's the worst thing that can happen? And then I just kind of guess that you're gonna do that. So Shaco tries to steal. Okay, at this point, your team is still ahead in gold. You have some decent scaling on your team. You do have the Twitch. You do have Zoe can try to one-shot people. Your team doesn't have a lot of targets that their team can pick. Zoe's hard to pick. Twitch. What are you doing, kitty? Okay. Twitch is going to be in stealth. Lux might be pickable, sure. Shaco is hard to pick. Aatrox is, you know, your Aatrox, you're kind of tanky right now. You're going to be hard to pick. So, like, their team is trying to, like, pick people and, like, burst them. Your team is, like, I'm not saying, like, you're, like, great at scaling, but at the very least, you know. So, like, if you guys rallied right now and started trying, I think, maybe in team fights, maybe if you, like, played around Zoe and, like, you try to get, like, pokes and shit on Zoe. But, yeah, I mean, this is kind of what I figured was going to happen as I was saying all this. What's happening now is your team isn't grouping, and their team is grouping, and their team keeps getting picks, which is destroying your team's morale. Look, like, when you play a game like Total War, or, like, Dawn of War 1, there's, like, the morale bar, and when you run out of morale, your people flee the field, or they do reduce damage, etc., etc. There is a morale bar, I assure you, there is a morale bar in League of Legends. And as we see that the entire rest of the game is their team killing your team, we can see that your team's morale has been destroyed here, okay? What's happened is your team no longer thinks you can win. So either you need to rally your team, you need to, like, type messages or something. This sounds stupid, but it does sometimes work. You need to, like, tell people to group. You need to, like, try to do something. But I can assure you from here on out, your team's morale has been depleted. Yep. And I'm assuming, other than there's gonna be like a few kills here. It's like you can see on this, right? Like if your team rallied and like got this game back together, you'd do good. But I can just promise you, based on how the macro has been going, that I'm guaranteeing the rest of this match is their team just getting pick after pick, and your team rarely responding to it. So here's a pick. Here's a pick. Is this gonna be a pick? Yep, there's another pick.
Shut down.
We got a fight here. Is it gonna be a pick? I mean, let's actually like stop and look at like how you played this out. Okay, so my only complaint here is you're kind of standing out, but like it's fine. It's not really that big a deal. Gragas does kind of come up behind you though, because you don't have vision. The rest of your team's kind of backing off while this is going on. They are literally backing off. Holy shit. So if Shaco hadn't gone over here, he could probably have stealthed into Xerath or something. Lux is like here, but she's not really helping. So this isn't entirely your fault. Not really. I mean, yeah, you guys do go 1 for 1. Again, if Shaco was here, Shaco doesn't understand anything that's happening. He seems lost in life. Yeah, see, if Shaco had done this earlier, but this is kind of what I say with the morale system. Sometimes your team's morale just starts breaking. You didn't exactly play it, like, you were a little bit up, so you didn't exactly play perfectly, but you didn't exactly play wrong. And that's something, just to be clear, that's something that I think is true in a lot of games. A lot of times, you're not, like, wrong, Okay, you have to admit that to yourself. That's something important. You can make a lot of mistakes, but you're not always making every mistake, in my opinion. So in that situation, Shaco fucked you. That's my opinion. Okay, so hold on, let me look back here. Okay, so what do we have going here? So Lux is holding mid, as a Lux does. She is support Lux, but she seems to be the only one holding. Gragas goes in, Zoe does shit, Twitch assassinates. I mean, this is always good. Malphite goes, you're once again not here because you don't have a teleport. So if I go back, you were pushing top, which is fine. You push top, you start going to mid. See, the only issue here is you have ignite instead of teleport. So you do see how Malphite is teleport instead of ignite. The issue here is, as you might suspect, he has more mobility and more late game. You come in, you use your ult for no reason, you miss everything. I mean, yeah, maybe if you hadn't blown your ult earlier, you actually would have had your ult now, and that would have... In all honesty, not blowing your ult earlier would actually have won this fight. If I can go look again, if we can watch, right? So, you see right here, the issue here is when you run out of your ult, I know you could say like, oh, I was just about to have it. But you ulted so early for no gain. If you had your ult right now, and you had that, you know, 32 and a half. Can I actually look at the numbers? Where are the numbers? Yeah, the 32 and a half damage, the 35% healing, right? Like, that would have made a good difference here. Not like, oh my god, everything has changed, but like, I'm saying like with how close this fight was, you would have lived through that. You would have gotten another heal onto Jarvan. Zoe would likely have gotten off her combo. So like, it's just, there's a lot of small things that go into fights. There's a lot of small things. Ulting really, really early like that. Because like, look at this, right? Who are you hitting? Who are you hitting with that ult? You pop your ult. You run at Malphite, who's just Q'd you and ran away again. I don't think even Q... No, he did Q you. So somehow Malphite Qing you and running you away has mind broken you into making like 900 mistakes this game. Oh boy. Yeah, see, you're in a really shitty situation. Just if you had your ult, because especially the ult would have helped your Triumph heal. So like, that would have been what, 45%, right? 35%. God, they have nerfed his ult healing so much. So that would have been an additional like 30 health. Like, all this little bit of healing, all this little bit of damage, it would have added up, is all I'm saying. And you would have likely survived here. You would have gotten that passive hit onto Jarvan. I think you would passive, I don't know. Either way, things would have gone a little bit better. At this point, the entire game seems to be mop up. So, there's not really much more to talk about here. Once you start getting into the later game, that's why I focus much less on the later game. Once you start getting into the later game, it starts mattering less and less and less, like what you do, and it starts mattering more and more what your team does. Certainly having teleport would have been better. Playing the early game better with Ignite would have been better. In my opinion, it's kind of hard to get kills on Malphite to begin with, because Malphite tends to be a bitch and stay back. So I'll often just go teleport into Malphite so I get better scaling anyway. That allows me to farm more anyway. Now, the last thing I want to do before I close out this video, the last thing I want to do is I'm going to go into your runes. We're going to graphs. I'm going to go here to physical damage taken, magical damage taken. And I'm going to show you, you took more physical damage than magical damage. Now, yes, a lot of that is going to be minions and towers and stuff like that. So this is probably about equal. The only thing I'm saying is that despite Malphite building wrong and going Q max into E and never maxing W max is like the meta right now. Despite that, by the end of the game, you only like, and I know, right? Like you did build more magic resist, like you did build Merc Treads. So like had you gone Ninja Tabby, you would have taken less physical damage and you would have taken more magical damage. So these numbers would even be more slated. But even with that said, in my opinion, you weren't taking as much magic damage as you thought you were taking. So bum rushing the Merc Treads to remove 0.3 seconds from a Gragas stun and to remove, I think it's like 0.6, some number like that from a Malphite Q. bum rushing the Merc Treads, particularly because in the early game you take tower shots and because you take minion damage, right? It wasn't doing as much as you thought it was. And I just knew that. So that's my gameplay review. That's my gameplay review. You're not playing like horribly. You don't understand why Malphite keeps escaping your W. You went with the wrong runes, which drastically impacted your early game. You didn't abuse the level 1 shenanigans bullshit. You didn't abuse the level 1 bullshit that's kind of become meta. So in effect, in total, in my opinion, just honestly by making a few better choices and just fixing like how you treat your W against Malphite, just doing that alone, I think you actually would have ended up winning this game. I mean, to be blunt, just having like unflinching and second wind here would likely have made you win that game. That's my opinion. So that's this video. If you guys want a game reviewed, if this video does good, at any rate, if this video does bad, I probably won't do anything more about it. But if this video does good, if you guys enjoy this video, if you guys like this video, I'm probably going to do more gameplay reviews for Patreon members as well as paid gameplay reviews. I mean, I'll probably do the second no matter what, but whether or not I make videos out of it, it comes down to how well this does. So if you want to get in on that, go to Patreon, blah, 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 blah. We'll see how it does, if this is successful. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys learned something from this. Thank you for watching, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.